Wouldn't it be nice if when you found yourself in social situations, your heart didn't race, your stomach churn, and your mind didn't scream at you to flee? If you suffer with social anxiety, you will be very familiar with these symptoms. But it is possible to significantly reduce these symptoms and find that you are able to cope with more and more social situations. In the first 4 videos of this series, I covered the symptoms and causes of social anxiety, how to challenge negative thoughts, and how to change the underlying beliefs that drive social anxiety. In this 5th video, I'm going to show you how to desensitize. By the way, if you're enjoying this video series and finding it useful, please give me a like and leave a comment below. In video 4, you learned how avoiding more and more social situations and employing safety behaviours teaches the brain that social situations are dangerous, so it activates the fight or flight response, which creates various unpleasant symptoms. The brain becomes gradually more and more sensitive to this perceived danger over many years. To desensitize, you have to gradually teach the brain that social situations are not dangerous. This is done through systematic desensitization, also called graded exposure therapy. To demonstrate how this works, I'm going to show this graph from a great website called getselfhelp.co.uk. It shows how, when we have always avoided a situation, but then find ourselves unable to avoid it, our anxiety gets very high and takes a long time to come down. But if we don't avoid it, the first time the anxiety is very high, but as we repeatedly expose ourselves to that situation, the initial anxiety becomes less, and the duration of the anxiety reduces also. So let's get started on retraining our brains. In the description below, you will find a link to a form called a graded exposure sheet. It's from getselfhelp.co.uk, who have kindly allowed me to use their forms in my videos. In the first section, write down all the places, situations or people that cause you to feel socially anxious. I have given you just a few examples, but the more you can list, the better. Rate how distressing you find each one of these situations from 1 to 10. Now in the second section, put the list in order with the most distressing at the top and the least distressing at the bottom. If there's not enough space on the form, just write them down on a piece of paper, tablet or computer. In the third section, choose the easiest item on your list. Write down what steps you need to take to face the situation. Maybe you need to break it down into little steps. For example, if you've been avoiding answering the phone to anyone, maybe start with answering the phone to people you feel more comfortable with, and work up to answering the phone to unknown numbers, if that is something you are less comfortable with. Also write down any coping strategies that you could use. It could be as simple as doing a breathing exercise or using a positive coping statement. Before a particularly challenging task, mindfulness meditation or self-hypnosis can help relax you. Incidentally, I will be making a self-hypnosis video for social phobia soon, so make sure you subscribe. Note, safety behaviours are not coping strategies, so try not to use them. For example, planning what you're going to say before you answer the phone is a safety behaviour, so it will just reinforce the fear. When you have done the first thing on your list, repeat it a few times until you feel much more comfortable, like in the graph I showed earlier. Then move on to the next item. There will be setbacks, and I will talk about how to deal with them later. Don't rush this process. Social anxiety develops over many years, so you will not reverse it in a few days or weeks. The speed of progress varies for everyone, but this process is something you need to do over months or years, and to some extent for the rest of your life. One of the barriers you might get to completing these tasks is negative thoughts. Use the tool I showed you in video 3 for dealing with negative thoughts. If you struggle with feelings of shame or self-critical thoughts, try to see that self-critic as an image. Call it an anxiety imp or a shame devil. Picture it, and then tell it that not only is it wrong, but you are going to prove that it's wrong. If there is a task that you're particularly fearful of, filling in the behavioural experiment form that I showed you in video 4 can help. When you have successfully completed a task, the reflection part of the behavioural experiment form is really useful for telling that shame devil that it was wrong. Even if a task is not completely successful, when you compare what you feared would happen with what actually happened, it is usually a lot less than you feared. As I mentioned earlier, it is quite normal to have setbacks. For example, if you try a fear level 5 task and it doesn't go well, repeat some level 3 and 4 tasks a few times to get your confidence back before trying the level 5 task again. Accept these setbacks. Nobody is 100% successful 100% of the time. Think of when you learned to ride a bike or to swim. You probably fell off a few times or suddenly panicked and reached for the inflatable, just like everyone else does. Just keep trying. You will succeed. Your confidence will grow and the beliefs you have about yourself will change. In the final video, we will recap on what you've learnt in the series and put it all together and look at making conversations. When I release that video, it will appear here.